In this episode of OG55, I am joined by the Italiano. We are talking all about Disneyland's 70th. We got a lot of news today. Disney did a huge drop today for the 70th. Very, very exciting news. And this guy right here, start calling him Nostradamus because he made a few predictions that were like spot on. Coincidence? Maybe not. We'll talk about it up next on OG55 West Coast Stand Up.
I ain't got nothing to say but West Side.
Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. We're talking all about Disneyland's 70th anniversary. Disney did a news drop today. A lot of interesting stuff. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. Before we do, George, at an undisclosed location, where can everybody find you on social media, George?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. Let's dive right in. We'll hit the ground running, Mr. Italiano. This is wild news. Great little picture here of Walt and the Sherman brothers. This is courtesy of our friend Drew, who we just did a video with. Check it out. It is up right now on the channel. Amazing guy, friend of the channel. We love Drew. Big shout out to him. Breaking news. Disney is adding, quote, the last verse, end quote, written by Richard Sherman to It's a Small World at Disneyland beginning July 17th. Quote, Mother Earth unites us in heart and mind, and the love we give makes us humankind through our vast, wondrous land. When we stand hand in hand, it's a small world after all. Okay, this is fascinating. We heard this verse at D23. You and I, we were at the Sherman, Richard Sherman tribute panel, hosted by Mr. John Stamos, I believe.
Yep.
Beautiful panel. I mean, they paid tribute to him, and it was gorgeous. John Stamos broke out in tears at the end. I mean, it was a very emotional thing.
Especially because it wasn't planned. You know, obviously with Richard's untimely passing right before the event, you know, there was nothing on that schedule, but due to the unforeseen circumstances, they actually put that segment together literally the last minute. And that was very impressive that they were able to get John Stamos, Haley Mills, Leslie Ann Warren, Leonard Maltin, all the people who knew Richard best, all under one roof at the same time. That was very well, eloquently put together, indeed.
Oh, perfect. And not to digress too much, but to have Haley Mills up there singing "Let's Get Together," yeah. Oh my gosh, it was just a beautiful Disney like family moment. Really, you know, it was really, really well done. But so this is interesting. So Richard wrote another verse for Small World. So Disney's going to add this verse into the attraction starting on July 17th. Okay. Now, George, George, I don't know who you know or what kind of special access you think you have, but you were on this channel. Obviously, you're always on this channel, but you were on this channel, and we have a video. We're going to play it asking for this. And not only were you saying they should do this, you even predicted the date. Go ahead and elaborate.
I'm going like full Simpsons on this stuff. Like, you know, like how the Simpsons predict everything. I'm like, so far, like, I mean, there's another topic that we're going to talk about in a little bit, but with these two plus the red card trolley, I'm 3 for 3.
Yeah. Oh no, it's absolutely incredible, George. Your accuracy. So we're gonna play this little clip. This is when you predicted the date, I believe, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I mentioned like what they should do with the final verse that Richard had created, and then I do believe I think I mentioned the date.
Okay. And this is from December 7th, long before today. Okay. We're talking a couple months ago now. Let's go ahead and listen to George the Italiano, Blast from the Past. Around that same time. And runs through the summer of...
Disappointing for me, though.
Why? Why is May disappointing for you?
Because in my mind, I guess I just thought that to kick off the 70th would have actually been on July 17th, the startup of the date, for the actual birthday itself. For me, I just feel, now I could maybe be nitpicking. I'll channel my inner Ebba. That if you start something on May 16th as something that's as big as the 70th anniversary, right, by the time you actually get to the date of July 17th, and you just have that simple little cavalcade and everybody sings happy birthday, it's like, well, where's the buildup with it? Because Paint the Night will already be returned. The Walt Disney audio animatronic will already be there. Like, for me, I would have thought they would have just kicked it off with a bang and just started it on July 17th.
Yeah, I think that's basically, I would agree. Okay, so that was, you were saying then that they should have done you were saying the whole celebration should be on July 17th, but you even mentioned in there the Walt animatronic. Now here, give me just a moment.
Yeah, I believe it's the second audio is the one specifically for It's a Small World.
Yeah. All right, here we go. And we'll play this one and we'll go from there. A song for After Wondrous Journeys. They absolutely should. That was another Richard Sherman song.
I agree. Actually, I'm going to take it a step further. I think what would be really nice for the 70th, they may even do it for the 75th, but they really should incorporate the final verse, the last verse that Richard Sherman left, not only the company, but us Disney fans, his legacy that he did with his brother throughout their whole entire career with the Walt Disney Company. And his final gift to us before he left us was the extra verse into It's a Small World. And I would love to see that incorporated in the ride itself. And if they even put it in during like a segment of Wondrous Journeys.
Thank you. That would be beautiful. Yes. They got to utilize. Okay, George. Literally, George, 2 months ago, the Italiano was saying they should kick this stuff off on July 17th and they should take Richard Sherman's new verse for Small World and have it in the attraction. And here we are. Look, I mean, it could be a coincidence or they could watch OG55. I don't know. You at home.
I think they watch the show for sure.
Yeah, I think they do, man. I mean, I don't want to like toot our own horn, but like, I haven't really heard anyone else say that except for you, to be honest with you. So yeah, that was very, very interesting. Now look, in regards to the idea itself, I love the idea. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Now, do we know if this is there an end date to that, or is this a permanent addition to Small World?
I don't think they gave like a specific end date. Now, I don't know if Disney is assuming that when they say they're starting it for the 70th on July 17th, if it would run during the 70th anniversary. So when it ends summer of 2026, they would remove it. But even if that is Disney's intention right now, I think by the time summer 2026 comes, I can't foresee them removing a verse that the Richard Sherman wrote before his passing, that he literally sang to Bob Iger, who is the current CEO of the Walt Disney Company, and implement it and ingrain it into this ride that he and his brother had worked on back in the 1960s, the song for the ride in the 1960s, to then remove it. Even if that is Disney's intention right now, if it is only supposed to be for the 70th anniversary, right, I don't think Disney would have the heart to do so.
I don't really know. I'm actually kind of torn on this. I don't know if that would be a permanent addition or if they would remove it.
It would depend on what in the context of how are they adding it in? Is it going to be throughout as you're moving along the boat ride, or is it going to be like at the very end, right before you like exit out of the tunnel
That we don't know. I'm assuming it's going to be incorporated into the natural flow of the song throughout the whole song. It's an extra verse that they're going to play throughout the whole thing. I'm assuming. Maybe though, maybe what you're saying is correct. It's like only in the finale scene. That's a possibility. But I can see it going either way though. I can see them. This is limited time for just the anniversary to kind of pay tribute both to Richard Sherman and his legacy, obviously his connection to this attraction, but maybe like after the celebration's over, it reverts back to the regular small world. But I could also see them keeping it in there because, like you were saying, I mean, it's Richard Sherman. You know what I'm saying? It's Richard Sherman. I mean, it's like this is a verse from him. And how do you get rid of that? I mean, it's not like you're adding, like, look, if they were adding some other artist, to come in here and do a verse, okay, that's different. You don't keep it in there forever. But this is Richard Sherman. Like, this is his baby right here. So yeah. Do you keep it? I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe they don't even know. Maybe they're going to wait and see how fans respond to it. I don't know. I'm open either way though. I'm open either way.
Yeah. And I think, and here's the thing, we talk about it a lot on this channel with the normies, people who know the song, It's a Small World, or they know the ride, It's a Small World. They may not know actually the Sherman brothers, and who wrote the song and who created the music and the melody and what have you. So for ordinary regular guests going into the parks, they may not know one way or the other, but us as the diehard Disney fans, we do. So if they were to keep it, I think it would be probably up to the Disney community of how well it's received if Disney wanted to continue to keep it, or if Disney says, you know what, okay, a lot of people were, talking, which I have to say, literally, the fact that they were adding it, I haven't heard not one negative comment about it.
I saw one, but I'm not gonna put that person out here. Yeah, I saw one, but it's fine.
I'll say this: the amount of negativity when they added the Disney characters into It's a Small World was far more greater than this right now.
Absolutely, and everyone has a right to their opinion. And this person that was pretty negative on it, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You have your opinion. That's cool. I respect that. But no, I would respectfully disagree, though. I love this idea. But I am curious, though. You bring up a great point, though, George. Is it going to be a verse played throughout the whole ride, or will they save it just for the finale scene? Because if you think about it, adding another verse to the whole thing changes how they even program all of the animatronics then.
Mm-hmm. And also the flow of the ride itself. Because when you hit a certain point in the ride on the boat, it's hitting a certain part of the song.
Right. So you got to go in there and you have to now add those cues for these new words for the animatronics, the whole thing. They might just do the finale. I think that might be where they're going to go with it. The whole ride is the same. At the very end, his verse comes out, which I would be fine with that. That's cool. But as long as it fits in seamlessly, as long as it's done in a tasteful way, I'm good with it. But I mean, come on. I mean, this is Richard Sherman. Unfortunately, we just lost him. Almost a year ago now, I think, right? Or about a year ago?
I believe. I believe so. I think because it was before
D23 in August. So
yeah,
it's been about a year.
It had to be several months prior to August. So maybe like in the spring.
Yeah. So we did. I mean, it's still pretty recent. We lost him, and he played a huge part in Disney. Obviously, Walt himself loved these boys. The Sherman brothers. So
yes,
I don't know. I love it. So we'll see. But yeah, very interesting stuff. And George, I'm still in shock at how this idea, which you brought up 2 months ago, is now being actually implemented in the parks. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. But our friend Drew, the Disney dude here, with another story related to the new verse. The last verse will play inside the Main Street Cinema at Disneyland beginning July 17th. The 3.5-minute film showcases Richard M. Sherman's final Disney contribution. Quote, Mother Earth unites us in heart and mind, and the love we give makes us humankind. Through our vast, wondrous land, when we stand hand in hand, it's a small world after all. What a beautiful lyric. I love that verse. So it's going to be in the Main Street Theater. Now, here's the thing, George. If it's going to be in the Main Street Cinema, I can see them taking it out of the attraction after the celebration, and maybe it lives on in the cinema.
I could see that too. Yeah. They may kind of like beta test the water, so to speak, and have it kind of incorporated in multiple different formats. So that way, if they do decide to remove it from the ride, if it is supposed to be like limited time for the 70th, it's not as of a sting or a burn, if you will, but like they're taking a part of Richard out of that ride where it could still live on in the cinema. I'd be okay with that too.
Yeah, I can see it living on here. I can see it eventually living on in the Disney Gallery, or where the area, is that what they call it now? Disney Gallery, right when you walk into Lincoln.
Yes, I think it's the gallery. Yeah.
I mean, it can, after the 70th, continue to live on in there, like through just the ambiance music or something. There's a lot of options here, but we'll see how they kind of move forward with it. I love this idea. I think it's amazing. It's a great tribute to Richard Sherman. It's a great addition to Disneyland and its anniversary. Perfect. Disney, this is a perfect call. Well done. Already, I think I like this more than... Honestly, I think already this alone, as a Disney nerd, kind of has won me over more than the 60th a little bit.
So far, I mean, they're kind of like on the fast track of, yeah, I agree with you, because I do love the 60th, but the 60th at a certain point had that kind of elegancy to it.
Well, yeah, and it felt generic a little bit, because like the fireworks show was great, Disneyland Forever. I loved it. The part in the beginning was amazing with the Orange Grove. No bias there, what I'm saying? No bias. But with the Orange Grove, where you were standing here 60 years ago, you would be in an orange grove, but a man with a vision saw a magic kingdom. I love that stuff because it pertained to Disneyland.
But it stopped right there at the very beginning of the fireworks show. There was nothing else incorporated, for me anyways, within the park where it like showcased the rich history of like going back into the past to move forward into the future.
Exactly. And then you had like the god awful castle. I did not like the diamond rooftop stuff that they were doing with that. That was hideous. It looked like plastic. It didn't look like any kind of like, I don't know. It just looked cheap to me. So there was a lot about the 60th I really didn't love. I'm digging this castle, this decor better that they're doing for the 70th. It's much more subtle. I think when it comes to the castle stuff, it's the Disneyland castle. It's beautiful already. You don't need to gaud the thing up like crazy. Like, I don't want a gaudy. Less is more. So some bunting, some nice little touches. You're good. 60th went a little too far with it, but yeah, man. As a Disney nerd, I mean, this alone is kind of winning me over already.
And again, sorry, Disney, whether or not this was your intention or not, but I'm just going to just say it, like kind of going off to my statement back on December 7th with, I love how they're kicking that stuff off actually on Disneyland's birthday. It just didn't resonate with me as to what was the significance of May 16th? Like, I get it in an optic standpoint of like running a business and, trying to get people out there during the summer months and what have you. I could see it through that standpoint. But when it comes to the richness of the nostalgia and the history behind of what this anniversary is meaning, to me, as I said, you kick it off with a bang actually on July 17th, literally Disneyland's birthday. That to me, I think would hit home more than anything.
Yeah, no, 100%. We're going to have these elements which play to the nerds like us, but then you're going to have Paint the Night for the normies. And it's your moment. Sorry, by Roadcaster. I agree, Eminem. That is the moment. It's your moment. There we go. But to have Paint the Night for the normies, I think it'd be great. And then you're going to have all these kind of smaller touches for like the diehard nerds, like the Walt Disney animatronic, the Sherman Brother lyric or verse in Small World. It's a good mix, man. My only disappointment so far with this whole thing is that fireworks show. I love Wondrous Journeys, but it has absolutely nothing to do with Disneyland as a park. It had everything to do with the 100th, because Disney is a studio first. It was built on a studio. That was what it was, you know? And so to have a whole show based on the animation of the last 100 years made total sense in context for the 100th. For the 70th of Disneyland, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So that's my only quibble. I wish we would have got a Disneyland focused fireworks show, but
yeah, I would have loved to have seen, and I even had mentioned it on December 7th, like if they would have incorporated maybe the last verse of Richard Sherman into the fireworks show, and like incorporate like the Tiki Room song, Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, like infuse the past, the present, and maybe even hint at a little things at the future of like what we can expect into the fireworks show. Like not necessarily say like, oh, this is coming, but like if you add it in there, it's very subtle to say, oh, why is Disney incorporating that specific IP into a theme park driven fireworks show for the 70th anniversary? Well, that's Disney's like hidden Easter egg to say, here's the past, here's the present, now here comes the future.
Boom, there we go. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have more stories here. It says here, this is a courtesy of Drew, the exit lobby of, quote, Walt Disney, A Magical Life, end quote, will preview new projects coming to the Disneyland Resort. The show will now debut on July 17th as part of Disneyland Resort's 70th celebration. Again, on the 17th, perfect date, obviously. But this is interesting because we're going to get a preview of new projects, including this new Avengers Campus stuff with, you know, Infinity Defense and the Stark Flight Lab. We're also going to get possibly some Pandora stuff. I mean, this is in July. We might even have a model. I mean, who knows? We might know. See, here's the thing, bro, with Pandora, because we've been covering this a lot on the channel. Where the heck is this thing going to go in DCA, right? If they're going to have like something big in this lobby, perhaps a model, we will probably know by the time this opens on July 17th where this thing is going.
It's possible. It's very possible that if they showcase more concept art, an actual physical model, and even the same with Coco. You know, we're still, you know, not even knowing where that's going to go. So they may throw in some key hidden, you know, it may be subtle. Maybe they may come out right out and say it, or they may kind of tease us with something where it's like, even though they tease us, it's like, oh, but now we kind of have a definitive answer that it's going to go either here or there.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it goes into the symbol lot, I think there's less of a chance we'll know the location. And I'll tell you why in a second. But if it goes into the symbol lot, we'll just get a model, and it'll just be kind of like the Lion King attraction we saw at the Imagineering Pavilion at D23. It'll just be like the thing that we're building, and that's it. There's no real context if it goes into symbol lot. But if it replaces Hollywoodland, they're going to have to announce Hollywoodland's closure to start construction. So they're going to have to tell you where it's going, because they have to announce that Hollywoodland is going away so they can start this thing.
True.
So if it goes into symbol lot, we might not know until later on. But if it goes into Hollywoodland, we might know pretty soon, because they're going to have to start on it. And you can't start on it without letting people know. You're going to have like this final day of Hollywoodland, say goodbye to Hollywoodland, thing. Yeah. So that's interesting.
And like I said, even looking at the concept art, and as I said, this is just a piece of concept art, take it with a grain of salt, and they add more extra fillers, you know, to make it look more immersive and everything. But still, just the layout of the land itself, by adding the real water element to it, the backdrop, the greenery, for some reason, it just doesn't look like it would cohesively look aesthetically pleasing where Hollywoodland is today. Now, again, you demolish all that and you level it out, and, you know, prove me wrong, Disney. But I mean, for some reason, I just feel like with the symbol lot, it is a blank canvas.
Yeah. No, you're right. Symbol lots of blank canvas. But here's the thing, and I agree with you. I'm not gonna say you're wrong because I feel the same way I do. I think a lot of it is psychological because we're so used to that area being buildings.
True.
So we have a hard time sort of like unthinking that. It's like telling someone don't think of the color.
Yeah, and then when you build it and you look at it and you're like, wow, I can't believe this used to be this.
Right, exactly. So here's the thing too, across the way, on the other side of Buena Vista Street is Grizzly Peak, which is a very natural environment. It fits just fine over there. It might, like you were saying, when you bulldoze it and you build it, it might make sense or might feel right when they put it in there. But I can't unsee Hollywoodland there. I can't. My brain can't undo that.
Yeah.
And it also, here's the other thing too, George. That area seems a lot smaller because of those big buildings. That area is massive. When you look at all those big buildings that are over there, the sound stages, Hollywood and Dine, the Hyperion, those buildings take up a lot of space. You bulldoze that, this whole area is gonna seem massive.
That is true. That is true.
Absolutely massive. So we'll see. But also, you mentioned Coco. Maybe we'll find out where that's going. Now, I think that's probably a lock. I would say this is probably a likelihood as to where this is going.
I think honestly, yeah, if I had to pick and choose, I would think we would probably get more info for Coco before Avatar.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think Coco is an easier fit, obviously, because it's just one attraction.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to go into Pixar Pier, unfortunately. And everyone at home, for those of you that are wondering why am I saying unfortunately, because I know a lot of fans want it to go in Pixar Pier because, hey, George, that's where all the Pixar is, right? So that's where this should go because this is Pixar, right? Mm-hmm. Well, see, fandom, I don't agree with that because that's not where all the Pixar is, okay? Because you have Cars Land right over there. That's Pixar. That's not in Pixar Pier. You also have the Monsters, Inc. thing over there in Hollywoodland, which is also Pixar, but not in Pixar Pier. So they've already broken that rule already. All the Pixar isn't contained on Pixar Pier anyway. So why are we going to abide by a rule that's already been broken twice, right? I don't really care about that rule. I'd rather build a nice, immersive Mexican village that properly sets up this attraction than putting it into a carnival area. How are you going to go from the carnival with the roller coaster and stuff and walk into this beautiful themed boat ride?
That's what I was just going to say. If they are immersively theming this, where Damaro is comparing it to Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion, it has nothing to do with a carnival or amusement type fair background. This is literally a boat ride that's going to take you into the celebration of the film. I don't understand how you go from a pier into this. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I think it needs a proper little Mexican village. I mean, if Pandora doesn't go in Hollywoodland, you can take that back area with, Monsters, Inc., Hollywood and Dine, the bus area behind it, and you can put that Coco Dark ride there. And in front of it, that little courtyard in front of this attraction could be a great little Mexican village, cobblestone, little walkways, outdoor vendors cooking Mexican food. That's the business right there. That's what they should do. Not cram it into behind the emotional whirlwind. No, dude. This ride deserves better than that, okay? I'm sorry, it does. Not to get on a rant or anything, but it just really does.
It needs breathing room. And I get it. There is room behind the Incredicoaster for sure, but after you have the show building and the standby queue and the lightning lane and all that, it's like you got everything just like shoved into one space. It's like, why?
Yeah. No, I agree, dude. I completely agree. I think it's a bad spot for it. I mean, I'm willing to hear them out, but George, you seem to have all the clout. I mean, they're doing everything you say with the Sherman Brothers song. So tell them, dude.
Yes. Disney. Again, Pandora, Simba Lot, Coco, put it in Hollywoodland, and let's get a nice little Mexican village tied with it.
There we go. Exactly.
Tomorrow, come on. I know you watch, man. I know you watch, bro. Let's get together. You can buy me a drink. Let's do this.
There we go. Come on, tomorrow. We basically have the same hair. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this. But great news today. This is exactly what I want from the 70th. I want to see the future of the Disneyland Resort. We're going to see there with all the stuff coming out, the preview center, basically, right? We have an amazing tribute to both Richard Sherman and a great way to honor him and also the park at the same time. Love that. Beautiful stuff happening here. So far, the 70th is shaping up to be pretty dope. The Sherman Brother thing alone, for me, the Richard stuff alone, I'm kind of good. With that and Paint the Night, I'm kind of good. Like, that's good enough for me. Like, those two things.
Walt Disney animatronic.
Right. Yeah. The Walt Disney
animatronic. As long
animatronic.
as they got to nail the landing on that.
Yes, and maintain it. You cannot have a malfunctioning Walt Disney animatronic in his park. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a huge risk, man. It's a huge risk, but it's a huge payoff too if they can do it right.
Yeah. I think honestly, with the family being like connected to this and really trying to recreate literally the founder of the company, I think Disney knows that this isn't just a normal, typical pirate or ghost or Yeti that they're building. This is Walt Disney.
Come on, Disney. You can do this. Let's knock it out of the park. Let's knock it out of the park.
But I do have to say, were you going to say something, bro?
Well, yeah, I was going to say on the anniversary of Disneyland, to be able to walk into that theater and have Walt Disney in physical form talking to the audience. This is something that we've never seen before since he passed away, obviously. You know, if you were lucky.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's what I was literally going to say. And if they do this right and they stick the landing, that this could pave the way for future Walt audio animatronics. And again, kind of going off of the streak here a little bit, but I'm not sure. Do you still have the Drew the Disney Dude one where it shows Walt and the Sherman brothers at the piano?
Yep, I got it. I absolutely have it. Let me just go ahead and pull this up. Boom, there it is.
Okay, Disney. Again, I know you're watching. When this Walt Disney audio animatronic is successful, I want to see something else, but I want something big. This right in front of us right here, Walt and the Sherman brothers at the piano singing A Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. I want to see this infused, all three of them, audio animatronics in the Carousel of Progress.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You have the audio, Disney. You have the audio. All you got to do is make the animatronics. And you already did the research and development, the R&D on the Walt one. So now you just got to do the two Sherman brothers and you're good.
Yep.
Let's make it happen, Disney. Come on. Let's do this. Let's do this. But George, amazing stuff here. I absolutely love it. But any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I'm very impressed, honestly, for everything that's been released. I feel like that this isn't just going to be a normal, typical Disney anniversary celebration where it's like, oh yeah, throw up some decorations and add a fireworks show and we're going to call it a day. You know, I feel like they're really tapping into this particular anniversary by hitting home, by moving forward, by going back in the past. And that was a huge motivation for Walt himself. Disney legend Marty Sklar said it best that Walt had 1 foot in the past, but 1 foot in the future. And when you kind of hone in on that and you utilize that into the parks and into the studios and incorporate that in these events and anniversaries and celebrations, that, I mean, small things, subtleties that you can add into these celebrations that you think, oh, they're irrelevant, you know, but it can mean a huge impact, and especially for diehard Disney fans like us, that we really, truly appreciate it.
100%. We do appreciate it, Disney. Keep doing stuff like this. We love the Sherman Brothers stuff. I want to see more stuff like that with these anniversaries. Again, you need these anniversaries to appeal to the masses, right? And the vast majority of the normies are not going to care about the Sherman Brother verse. So that's why you have things like Paint the Night, though, right? Yes. So you can do this kind of thing where you have, like, you're giving your diehard fans like George and I and everyone watching this show, you give them something like these little things. And then you also give the normies what they want, and everyone's happy. So it's good to have that. A lot of times with these anniversaries, it's too heavily skewed for the normies, and they should focus on normies. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of red meat for the crazies like us. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So absolutely. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to hear all your thoughts in the comments down below. How do you feel about all the stuff announced today? We would love to hear from you. I want to thank Drew, the Disney dude, again for his fantastic coverage as always. George, where can everybody find you on social media?
Absolutely. And I do have to say, if all this information dropped at the time when we were recording with Drew, the Disney dude, we probably would have went for another 2 hours.
Oh, easy, dude. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But anyways, you can find me on social media on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. And he's been to California now for what, like almost 2 months?
I ain't got nothing to say but West Side.
There you go. There you go. And I'm actually going to meet up with you this weekend. I'll be in the OC area with you. So a lot of just, a couple of Californians doing some California things. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, that you would only do in California.
Exactly. But everybody at home, thank you so much for watching this episode of OG55. And until the next time, see you later, alligator.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.